first. So got me in, COVID test. As soon as that was done, bang, somebody came out for me, walked out the back, but where we had to go was, the door was right next to the waiting room. And the nurse took me out. She didn't say a word, she just called my name, follow me. Once the door closed, she introduced herself as the mental health nurse. Again, just showing that respect, and so that, the 100 odd people in the waiting room weren't saying, oh, there's some nut job.
And I just want to say as well that is a that must be a uniform thing, because even though one hospital turned me away, the second one didn't. Both times I went in there and told them what it was about, I got taken in out of the public waiting area to somewhere where, a safe zone on your own. And that happened both times I went to the hospital. So I think that's something really important to highlight.
I think so.
The care and the respect shown, really puts you at ease. You're in a point where you are worried about what people think, and particularly for me, like I said, growing up in that era where you can't talk about it, you don't talk about it, and the stigma still attached with, because basically you mentioned mental health, and people sort of always think the worst. They think you're a psycho or a schizo.
I think you're right.
You belong in a home that they don't see depression or anxiety or
they just turn around and say, toughen the F up.
Yeah. And it's us. We put this angst on ourselves as well.
I think
whether you're male or female, it happens. Yeah,
our generation has. We've committed to our own problem. I think that we've gone along with that and sort of made fun of it along the way, and
well, we have,
and we still do, and but that's just us.
Well, now we're making fun of ourselves. We're not making
yeah.
fun of others anymore.
Yeah.
It's, so that respect shown at the hospital, and when you turn up, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
You need that. You don't need to be disrespected or made to feel any worse or.
Look, we hear a lot of crap at the moment about our public health system here in South Australia, and
It's
I think
the system.
the system. That's
Not
right.
the people.
Not the people that are working in there.
No.
I need to stress that.
They're doing their absolute best they can.
Absolutely.
With limited resources and.
That's exactly right. And I think hearing me being a fella who hasn't been in the hospital for depression or anxiety, I haven't experienced what you guys have.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to hear that your experiences are very similar in that aspect, and it's in a way a positive thing about our public health system.
Yeah.
And maybe us talking,
our public health system.
and maybe us talking about this as well could be the difference between someone getting the help because maybe they're worried about, they don't want to walk in the room and have to yell, "I'm having a breakdown,"
Oh my goodness, I would
and
feel
sit there
absolutely
and
terrible
burst
if
into
I-
tears.
Well, I was when I walked, because I said you basically got to walk through the waiting room to get to the reception, and like I said, there's 60 odd people in there and it's chockers, and it's like, well, I know last time when I came here for my back, a month ago, I'm sitting at the back of the room waiting for my turn, and I could hear what everybody's done, what their problem is when they're at the window. So I know what's about to happen when I take the next 3 steps, and I'm freaking out. Like, I don't need these people to know that.
No.
I've been hiding this for 35 years. I certainly don't want to be announcing to the world in a public hospital that
No, you might.
And even worse, once you've gone through that, you go and sit down amongst 30 people and just go, it's like,
Yeah.
That's terrible.
So no, that really sort of, and that's something I'd really like to get out there. That if you are worried, don't, because the staff are fantastic.
Yeah.
They really do, go above and beyond.
And look, some people don't like talking on the phone. I hate talking on a bloody phone. So for me personally, calling up a
oh, that's why you don't answer my calls.
Healthline,
No, that's not the regular.
That's caller ID, mate. But it'll be harder for me to make that phone call than it would to be able to go into somewhere and just talk to somebody.
Yeah.
But your experience, I mean, getting to that point.
But then I'm in with the two nurses out the back and going through, telling my story, all, warts and all, not holding back. They're taking their notes and everything else, and they were great. They weren't judgmental in any way. They were listening, and they could relate to what I was saying, and knew when to throw something funny in just to break the ice. And but then they really stepped up when I said, I'm looking at 22 days to get an appointment. One of them left the room, got on the phone, got me an appointment with a GP the following Monday, so 4 days time. And so I didn't have to. And that was one of the clinics that I had actually rung and couldn't get an appointment for 3 weeks. They got me an appointment within 4 days. The hospital must have had some sort of pull and got me in there. But the best part of that was that conversation that I had with them. All those notes they were taking were then transcribed onto a database. So when you ring that mental health crisis line, it's already there.
That's the health records. That's,
so you don't have to go back through and discuss all that ugliness and your problem again. If you don't want to, if you want to remain anonymous,
okay.
You're going to have to. But if you tell them your name, your date of birth, they can pull that conversation up.
Yeah. That's a very good thing to have. And when it came out, it was a lot of controversy. People didn't want, their information being shared on this database. But it's only within the hospitals and doctors, and you have to be a medical practitioner of some sort.
Yeah, of course.
And so straight away, when I was in hospital, everything was happening live, was being put up into the computers, and my doctor was being pinged and was getting live information and knew what was happening before you've booked that appointment with them. So if you've got to register for it, it's not just automatically accepted. You've got to go in and do it through MyGov, but it's definitely worth having, because it could save your life one day.
Yeah, and that's what I found was it was a real time saver. And even though, like, I've presented on the Thursday, I had, in my situation, I had to work with someone that I'd hurt in my downward spiral on the Saturday, and I was sort of was worried about how that was going to go down. So I rang the hotline number. They had all the details there. They knew what had happened. I didn't have to go through and waste an hour explaining myself again.
Did that help with your anxiety levels? Did that sort of bring them?
Not having to go through that again, it brought that right down.
Okay.
And I found that was great because I didn't have to spend that time going over all that ugliness again. They already knew it. It was there in front of them.
Yeah.
And we could just get straight down to working on how am I going to deal with this afternoon? How's this going to? So it was, and then I could then focus on getting my head ready to go to work and being
that little bit of guidance essentially stopped you from over processing.
Yeah, and that was probably
very helpful.
And in the past, I've focused more on the negative of every situation. I don't know. I always thought I was a positive person, but looking back, person hasn't responded to my text. Why are they avoiding me, or what's going on? You look at the negative. You never look. Oh, maybe they're busy, or they're looking at how to respond in an appropriate manner. Which in the last 7 weeks I've managed to make that now second nature. I started looking at the positive in every situation, and taking a step back and looking at the situation. Well, there's the negative. That's right there. I can grab that. Over there's a positive. Over there's another one. Well, that's probably a better positive. So if I take 2 steps, I can grab that positive, and I'll go run with that. And in time, that's now that I've managed to clear my head and get all that fogginess out of it,
Yeah, but you've changed your diet and everything though.
I've done a hell of a lot.
And like you're not a fat bastard like me and Justin are, but
I was
you know.
getting there. I was happily on my way there.
I'm sorry, didn't you know, Justin?
I don't have mirrors.
Oh. Moving on.
So yeah, I've turned that around and now thinking more positive. And once I felt the momentum of coming out of this hole started, it really started ramping up, and the momentum just picked, which I knew it would. I know how sort of I work, but I wasn't expecting that in 2 or 3 weeks. I was expecting 2 or 3 months of, because where I'd been before, I'd been in holes before. I dealt with it myself. You know, it's 5-6 months to come out and start feeling normal again. And but this time, having that help, getting into the psychologist, that's, you know, when I went to the GP, she got on the phone and got me a psychologist the next day.
Okay.
Whereas I'd been told people are waiting 3, 4, 5 months, and she got on the phone and got me an appointment the next day. So once that had all happened, and you know, 2 weeks in, starting to understand why I was thinking the way I was, and and because I guess the pain I'd been in, and look, don't get me wrong, my diet was crap for my entire life. I used to live on 16 iced coffees a day.
Okay, well, you broke my record.
And I didn't eat. I just, iced coffee was it. If I ate, it would have been a pie, a frozen pizza, you know, one of those frozen meals that you whack in the microwave for 3 minutes.
Right.
You know, might as well be eating the box. You know, probably more nutrition in it than the crap I was eating. But then when I did my back and then the stomach thing, I wasn't eating. I just couldn't handle food, the pain and everything else. So I once I sort of, that pain was over and all this had come out, I started it. And first day was 1 piece of toast, and then the next day I had 2 bits of toast with some Vegemite, and started. And once I started eating again, I thought, well, you know what? I'm gonna change this. Like, I've made the change of reaching out and getting help.
Yeah.
And I'm actually going to make a change on my diet, because the way I'm going, I'm not going to live. One way or another. My head's going to do me. My guts is going to do me. My heart's going to do me. I've got to make a change, and I made that conscious change to change my diet and cut out the crap. It's like, so I started eating healthier, and that went on for a couple of weeks, and then I guess me doing research. I like researching things, which is how I diagnosed my anxiety. So, someone told me, "Oh, you're suffering with anxiety. What are you on about?" No, you are. I've got it. You've got it. I know.
Yeah.
So
Others know.
I went and I did all the research. Like, yeah, this are the symptoms. These are the triggers. Oh yeah. So I worked out what my triggers were. Then I worked out how to avoid them, and I got by. For 7 years, I got by.
I think a lot of people out there will probably be agreeing with you on that one.
But because I based all my research and all my, I guess, self-treatment based on past experience, it had only ever done this. The day that this friend of mine told me that I've got anxiety was the first, like, worst thing. I nearly passed out. I was standing in a restaurant waiting for a takeaway meal, and all the people looking at me, I freaked out and basically passed out. If it wasn't for a piece of ornamental edging around halfway up the wall that I grabbed on the way down, I would have hit the floor. And that was the worst that had ever happened to me. So that was basically what I based everything on. Not knowing it could get worse, I didn't have anything up my sleeve for when it got worse. And then in this downwards spiral, it got worse one night, and I didn't know how to deal with it. I just